This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
He is the face of some of the most powerful anti-smoking ads on television. Rick Stoddard on this edition of Conversations. He's been seen and heard by millions. His message is chilling, raw, and real. His ability to communicate the dangers of smoking is quite compelling. In 2000, Rick Stoddard's 46-year-old wife, Marie, died of lung cancer. She had been a smoker since the age of 13. Following her death, Rick became an ambassador for the anti-smoking movement. From radio to television to schools, Stoddard's real-life story has removed the glamour from smoking and exposed the addiction for what it is. Here is one of Rick's public service announcements. Watch.
I'm Rick Stoddard. That's my wife, Marie. She died from smoking cigarettes. She was 46 years old. 46. Now I look back on our lives together and I just keep coming back to, she died at 46 years old. I guess I never thought of 23 as middle-aged.
We welcome Rick Stoddard to this edition of Conversations. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome, Jeff. Thank you.
Powerful stuff. How did you become an ambassador for the anti-smoking campaign?
Well, Marie was diagnosed with lung cancer in August of 1999, and after her diagnosis, she died 5.5 months later. And I actually knew the people in the funeral home, and her diagnosis was small cell carcinoma, lung cancer caused by cigarette smoking. And I asked them, could I put anything I want in the obituary? And they said, sure. And I said, good, I want it to read she died of cancer caused by cigarette smoking. And they started backpedaling big time then. They said, no, Rick, how about we put in there she died at home of a short illness? And I said, no, you're going to put in there cigarettes killed her, or you're not going to put anything in there. So reluctantly, they did it. So the obituary hit the paper. The following day, I was contacted by a local reporter from the Worcester Telegram and Gazette, and she asked me if I'd be willing to talk to her about the obituary she'd seen. They'd never seen anybody do that before. So I agreed. She's a pretty tough reporter, so I was a little reluctant to talk to her at first, but she ended up writing a really beautiful story about Marie's life and our life together and her death. Someone from a local smoking coalition in the state of Massachusetts saw that story. They clipped it out, mailed it to the state, and they asked me if I'd be willing to do some public service announcements. I was working as a carpenter at the time and took a little time off work and ended up doing 7 public service announcements sitting in the chair in my living room. And I told them I would do them as long as they thought they would help. Mm-hmm. And so I really had no idea what those few words in that obituary were going to stir up.
Wow, they really did. I mean, one of your ads ran during the Super Bowl in 2001, right?
That's correct. Yeah, the whole point of the ads was always to just get people to just simply listen. And so, yeah, it ran on the Super Bowl in 2001, which is pretty scary stuff for just a regular guy.
Yeah.
You're talking millions of people were going to see that ad. And a lot of people that were longtime friends of Marie that she had lost contact with had no idea she had died. And that's how they found out. So it was pretty hard for a lot of people. It was very hard for me, but the whole point was to get people to listen and hopefully that they would impact one person, to not make that same mistake.
The one line, you say it.
Never thought of 23 as middle-aged.
Yeah.
Yeah, very powerful line. In fact, we've had a lot of discussions about it. A lot of people feel that may be one of the most powerful anti-smoking ads ever made. It really hits home with people.
Yeah.
I'm just a regular guy. I'm a shop carpenter, cabinet maker. I loved to fish, loved to ride my motorcycle. We were just a very normal family.
Right.
Our son came home one day, found her unconscious on the floor, and no signs at all. 5.5 months later, she was dead. And so it's been a real struggle. We were married for 25 years. She was my best friend. She was my soulmate. And it's been a very difficult time.
Did you smoke then too?
I did. I started when I was at the age of 12, stealing them from my dad. My dad was a big smoker. He smoked 2 to 3 packs a day, Salem's. So I could steal 2 or 3 cigarettes from him. He'd never know they were gone. Yeah. So I started at 12, just experimenting and stuff. But by the time I was 15, 16 years old, I was totally addicted. Mm-hmm. So I met Marie at 19. She was smoking Viceroys and I was smoking Camel filters. And that continued up until I was about 20, and almost 21 when my son was born. So I knew I got to start by stealing them from my dad. I didn't want my son to smoke. It didn't work. My son smokes. Yeah. I'm in the same boat a lot of people are. I have people I love that smoke.
Yeah. But you quit.
I did quit cold turkey. I had already been thinking about it because my son was going to be born, but I also had the flu. They tasted terrible.
Yeah.
So I quit for about 3 days, and after that 3 days, I thought, those are my 3 days. I earned them, and I'm not going to give them back. Yeah. So I quit. It wasn't easy. I don't want anybody to think it was easy, because it wasn't. I can remember going through about 7 years of cravings, but I'm a hard-headed man. I fought it off. I just kept fighting it off, but you have these triggers. After you eat is that was the worst time of all. I wanted a cigarette so bad after I ate, I couldn't stand it, or hanging out with friends, or maybe have a beer in a bar, you want a cigarette, but I just kept fighting it. And eventually, after about 7 years, the cravings finally went away.
What do you think caused those cravings to go away? Was there anything that triggered something in your mind?
No, I don't think anything triggered it. I think they just finally faded away, and I just was a full-blown non-smoker by that point.
Yeah. Now, Marie, she continued to smoke.
She did.
Were you on her? Were you saying, honey, quit, stop?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was on her. Marie was a pretty tough lady, and you got to remember that everybody has different levels of addiction. Yeah. I was very fortunate that I had a fairly low level of addiction, and there's some people that can't quit even when it's killing them. Yeah. So that's on purpose. A cigarette is nothing more than a nicotine delivery device. That's all it's good for.
Right. How addictive is nicotine?
Well, it's a medically proven fact that it's more addictive than cocaine or heroin. Yeah. I've seen films and studies of people who were able to quit heroin addiction, but they can't quit smoking, and 6 months later they're dead from lung cancer. Yeah. Scientists have proven that it negatively affects every organ of your body. Yeah. So, and that's a tough deal, especially if you're blowing that smoke around your children.
Yeah. Your wife, Marie, when she was smoking, and you would say to her, why don't you quit or whatever, yep. what would she say?
Shut up and leave me alone, pretty much. So one of the things that I do look back on and I kind of regret is that I wasn't a little more relentless about it. But I'd try things like, Marie, I really wish you'd quit. Shut up and leave me alone. Marie, there's this guy I saw in the paper. He's going to come hypnotize people to quit smoking. Shut up and leave me alone. But now that you look back and you know how wonderful hindsight is, I look back and she was always a real dog person. She rescued dogs from the pound, took in strays, and she always had them right with her. And I can remember at least 3 dogs that died from cancer. And I have to believe, had she known that smoke was killing her dogs, I really believe she might have quit.
How many packs did she smoke a day?
She was pretty close to 2 packs a day. Yeah. For most time I knew her, pack and a half a day probably.
Yeah. So what was life like once the diagnosis came down of lung cancer?
It was stunning, to say the least. Like I say, our son came home. She really had no signs at all. Our son came home one day and found her unconscious on the floor. He called the ambulance, came and got her, took her to the emergency room. They called me at work, and I met him at the hospital. So it was a pretty good shock to the system, and they're doing diagnosis, trying to find out what's going on. And what had happened was it had metastasized. It had already spread to her liver and her brain. Unfortunately, lung cancer metastasized pretty quick. And so it was devastating, to say the least. I really vividly remember them coming out, and they told her that she had about 6 months left to live. And it was really strange because she just immediately was like denial. And I thought to myself, denial's a pretty good place for her to fight from. Yeah. And so she stayed in denial thinking that she was going to be better for, 5 months or so. And then when we finally, at the very end, had to call hospice in, and with hospice you have to agree to no longer seek aggressive treatment and all. And then she realized, and she looked at me and she says, am I dying? And I told her yes. And she just went, huh. But one of the things that was really just awesome about Marie is she never said, why me? She always said, why not me? Mm-hmm. She never badmouthed or anything. She was an amazing lady who did a lot of volunteer work and stuff, and just a really good person. Smoking doesn't make you a bad person, it just makes you an addicted person. Yeah.
Did she smoke once she was diagnosed? Did she continue to smoke? Yeah,
she continued after she was diagnosed. She tried to quit, a lot of times, and like I say, it is so addictive. And even, over the last decade or so, the tobacco industry has been secretly raising the level of nicotine in their cigarettes. And it all has to do with the fact that we have so many young people now. The tobacco industry spent generations making smoking look cool. Mm-hmm. But now we're so lucky to have groups in like Florida called SWAT, Students Working Against Tobacco. In New York State, you have Reality Check. In Indiana, you have Voice. And all these kids and the coordinators who work with them have done an amazing job of flipping the tables on that. And now for a lot of kids, smoking is not cool. and they don't like it. They think it stinks, and they hate the fact that their parents smoke. You know, I've spoken since Marie passed away, about over 3,500 schools, and I've talked to about 1.6 million kids face to face. But for a lot of them, and it's a very powerful program. I'm not the kind of guy that candy coats stuff. For them, I think the real emotional part of it is they have parents who smoke. And for these kids, it's very difficult for them at a very young age to talk to their parents and, you know, try to figure out how they can talk to them and how to get them to quit. And, you know, I've known kids who have been grounded for trying to talk to their parents about quitting smoking because their parents are so addicted.
Yeah.
So part of my segment in my program is trying to teach kids how to talk to their parents without getting in trouble. Don't start an argument. Don't be breaking their cigarettes or poking holes in them and hiding them. It just doesn't work. They need to just have a heart-to-heart, gentle conversation with their parents and just tell them how much they love them. You know, just because I'm 58 years old doesn't mean I don't need my mom and my dad around, you know?
Right, right.
So, in a way, smoking is a bit of a selfish act because it's really not about you. It's about the people who are left behind to pick up the pieces of a shattered family. And we're a very good example of what 1,200 families go through every day.
Yeah.
You know, this is the only product in history that's ever been allowed to kill this many people. You can look at spinach. Spinach kills 3 people. They pulled it off every shelf in this country. You couldn't buy a piece of spinach anywhere.
You're right.
And then last year and the year before, and I think last month, dog food, if dog food makes a dog sick, they'll recall dog food. But they'll allow tobacco to kill 1,200 Americans a day, and it's okay. As far as I'm concerned, it's not okay anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it will kill about 5 million people in our world this year.
We know the odd thing is if I put a warning on this coffee cup here that said if you drink this it might kill you, would you drink it?
Probably not.
But people pick up every day.
But they pick them up every day, and that's because they're addicted. You know, 90% of the people who smoke start before the age of 18. And so in the 11 years I've been on the road, every time I meet somebody that I know smokes, a lot of times my first question, just to start a conversation, just like I try to teach the kids, I ask them, how old were you when you started? And my own personal survey, the average is about 12.
12 years old.
12 years old. And the tobacco industry has to target kids. They know that if they don't get them before the age of 18, chances are very high that they'll never smoke. And they have to have replacement smokers for the ones who quit or the ones who die or they go out of business.
The settlement that took place with the state's attorney generals here in recent years and all the advertising and everything had to change from, I guess it was limited on what they can do in sports venues and things of that nature. Supposedly, they're not supposed to be able to advertise to children. You say they are.
They have candy-flavored products. And a lot of times the coloring on their packages is candy-flavored. I have some ads that I show kids in the schools. They use stuff like a Dalmatian puppy, the same as 101 Dalmatians, to advertise cigarettes. I'd really like to know what a Dalmatian puppy has to do with smoking a cigarette. I also show one ad that looks almost identical to an Xbox ad. Same color tone changes, same circles that were in the center of the box for the same year the ad came out, an X hidden in the light, same tapered ends, same tilt to the X. So they blatantly target kids.
But now, as I understand it, they're not allowed to do like cartoons like the Joe Camel and stuff like
Right.
that. So you're saying they're using like a real Dalmatian dog.
It's a real Dalmatian dog.
Okay.
And he's surrounded by charcoal. And I wish I had brought in some of the ads to show you. They're very effective ads. But for them, it's about planting seeds. They want these young kids to be normalized. And another real serious problem, not just with the magazine advertising, is smoking in movies is a serious problem. I mean, they even smoke in movies like Rango and 101 Dalmatians. And I don't care if Cruella de Vil is the bad person or not. You don't have to smoke to be the bad person.
Right.
You can portray bad people on TV without smoking.
Right.
In fact, at one time, over 60% of Disney movies that were rated PG-13 or younger had smoking in them.
Is that right?
It did. And so that's a serious problem.
Why do you think actors and actresses who know they have huge influence, why do you think they do it?
Well, in the beginning, they were paid to do it. I've seen documents where Sylvester Stallone was paid $500,000 to smoke in 3 movies. So a lot of times, either they claim that it's to portray a villain, but like I said, if you're a really good actor, you don't have to smoke to portray a villain.
Right.
I've seen some movies with different ones that are just evil characters that don't smoke.
Yeah.
So that smoking really has nothing to do with it.
And you put it up on that big silver screen with somebody who's an attractive person, male or female, and it's a seductive event.
Yeah, Reality Check in New York targeted the movie industry quite a bit. In fact, they went into magazines first and did stuff with magazines. But then they started writing letters to Julia Roberts and some of the others that portrayed smoking in the movie and asked them to please stop.
What was the response?
They got contacted by their managers and told them to back off. But these kids are pretty tough kids. They're not going to back off. Yeah. They care about their families, they care about their friends, and they're not going to be bought. Yeah.
Is there, smoking seems to be on the decline in this country.
Yes.
Is it on the decline across all segments of the population?
No, with youth it is. Youth smoking rates have dropped, and that's because of really good programs. The problem, like when we talked about the master settlement money, is unfortunately we have political leaders who are very short-sighted, and they keep taking the money that the CDC sets out mandated levels of funding that are effective for each state to have programs for youth or have media buys and stuff for these programs, but they're taking it to balanced budgets. And you know, I've had the comment before, well, if you take all these cigarettes away, won't we lose all that tax revenue? But what people tend to forget is the savings on Medicaid and Medicare costs for sick and dying smokers would more than offset the loss from taxes. You know, we all pay for it. Mm-hmm. Your tax dollars help pay for sick and dying smokers who don't have insurance.
Any idea how much?
Oh, I had that number a couple of years ago, but I don't know what it is at this point right now. But I know that we had private insurance, and Marie went through radiation chemotherapy. She had a neurologist because of the brain tumors. You got a lung, the cancer doctor, and her care was extremely expensive. They're talking a lot of money for that insurance company. But had we not had insurance, there was no way I could pay for that. I was a shop carpenter. Right. So the taxpayers would have picked that bill up.
Yeah. Have you ever been contacted by the tobacco companies?
No, they claim they don't want kids to smoke, so that must put us on the same page. Besides that, I'm just really not the kind of guy that takes being threatened very well, so.
So they've never contacted you?
No, I've been attacked on the internet a few times. You know, there's the I Hate Rick Stoddard webpage. I'm sick of your voice. I'm sick of your ads. And I say, hit the mute button, change the channel. It's not a big deal. Right. You know, and I've had people say that dragging my wife's dead corpse out of the closet is not going to get people to quit smoking. I've had people write, your wife got what she deserved. And, you know, it's very easy to write that stuff when you're 1,000 miles away, hiding behind a computer in your bedroom. Yeah. But I take that stuff with a grain of salt. I've received probably approaching 150,000 letters in the mail now from kids all over the country. And I'd say for probably every bad letter I get, I probably get 5,000 good ones. Yeah. So I save all the letters, including the bad ones. I put them right in the box with the rest of them. And hopefully someday my grandsons will look back and go, wow, look what Grampy did.
Yeah, it did something to make a big difference.
Right.
You wrote a book. What's the book about?
I wrote a book called The Burning Truth, and actually a kid gave me that name. I asked a group of kids one time, used to do leadership camps, Teen Institute camps in the summer, and I asked some kids one time, I said, I'm going to write a book. What should I name it? And I have a list of chemicals, additives that come from the tobacco industry. There's about 600 additives in tobacco, and they range from everything from dimethyl tetrahydrobenzofuranone to water, and even orange flavoring. And so I asked one of the kids, I said, what can I name the book? He goes, Rick, put that list all over the book and call it The Burning Truth. So the book is titled The Burning Truth. When Marie was sick, I kept a diary. Mm-hmm. And originally the diary started out as just a way to keep track of the pills, appointments, radiation. I kept track of pulse and blood pressure and things like that. But I ended up writing a lot of personal things in there. And so I flew out to Indiana to speak in some schools, and the lady who took me, I left my stuff in her car. Next morning picked me up. She goes, I read your diary. I'm like, you read my diary? She goes, yeah. She said, but I think everybody needs to read your diary. So I put it in a book and set up a little thing for that, and all the money from that book. So if anybody ever buys the book, the money all goes to the Webster Dudley Food Share. Okay. It goes to the food bank.
What's the most powerful thing in that book? What would what is it that I would read in there that I would take away from and be able to use?
Probably, you know, I think one of the nicest things that was ever said to me came from a teenage girl in New York State. I knew her mother worked for the health department there. And she said, Mom, she said, he was so good. He not only taught us about not smoking, he taught us about love. And so I hope that, you know, in all these schools and these kids and the program I do, I hope that they get in there, don't use tobacco, it can kill you. But I also want them to get more out of it than that. I don't want it to be just don't smoke. I want it to be that you need to try hard every day to be a good person, even when nobody's looking. Yeah. And just do the best you can.
Yeah.
That's what I want them to get. Love each other. Be nice to each other. Be nice to each other.
Yeah. Be nice and be grateful.
Be grateful. I'm very grateful. I've said this before, and some people get it, and some people think I'm a nut. But in a way, losing my wife was a gift. You know, how could I have possibly reached 1.6 million kids with a very powerful story had I not lost my wife? And so, you know, painful? Absolutely. 12 years later, I've had people ask me, doesn't it get any easier? No, it doesn't. And had you seen me speak last night at Pine Terrace Church, you would understand why. No offense to anybody, but I hate night programs. I do. They're notorious for very low attendance. And I'm the same way. If I go to work and I come home, take my boots off, I'm not going to put them back on and go hear some guy talk about not smoking. So it was a very small crowd. My average audience is usually 400 or better. So if there's somebody who's visibly upset from what I say, I don't have to look at them anymore. There's 400 other places I can look. But last night we had about 9 people came. And so for me it becomes very personal, and I lost it last night. I talk about her treatments and then I talk about her death, and I got to the death part and I fell apart. I lost it. So I've told her story probably 3,500 times across the country, and I've only lost it about 5 times. But when you do, it's a very emotional thing. I relive her death. When I started, I was doing 3 one-hour programs a day, and I relive her death in detail every day. And then you get in a pickup truck I usually travel the country in, and I head off to the next place. You know, some days you can be on the road, I'll be around 2,000 or 3,000 people a day, but the road is a very lonely place. Very lonely place.
What would she say?
Oh, she'd be thrilled with this. I really believe she would. You know, I saw her as a mental health worker. She worked at the state hospital. She would go in on her days off, unpaid, and advocate for patients. I've seen her go to Walmart and buy hats and gloves for homeless people and give them out her car window. I've seen her volunteer at soup kitchens. Yeah. So really, what I do is almost just a continuation of who she was. Yeah. You know, and I really do this in her honor, but I mainly do it because we have to create generations of non-smokers. It's the only way it will ever end. Yeah. So if we can get some of these kids to grow up to be non-smokers, and then their kids are non-smokers, and their kids' kids, and we create these generations, then the tobacco industry is in big trouble. They're in big trouble now. That's why they're going overseas and they're targeting third world countries so heavily.
Speaking of third world countries, what's happening? I mean, smoking, is it increasing in those countries?
Oh, absolutely, it is, and that's because they're targeting them over there even more than they do here now. We have some pretty good laws in place, but they need to be much stronger laws for how we protect children. And they need to quit cutting all the funding. These programs, and like the new ads from the CDC, tips from smokers, those are very powerful ads, yes. And these are real people. Yeah. That's what I actually wrote in my journal last night, that, you know, after I left the church over there last night, I was just so exhausted from the emotion of it all. And you just want people to just not go through this. Mm-hmm. You really don't want them to go through this.
People think of smoking and lung cancer, but the swath is much bigger, isn't it, when it comes to cancer?
Yeah, like I say, scientists have proven that it negatively affects every organ of your body. You know, it almost killed my dad. My dad had bladder cancer. It's the #1 cause of bladder cancer. Had it not been for blood in his urine, it probably would have killed my dad. But I've buried 7 people because of the tobacco industry, 7 times.
If you are a smoker today, your advice on how best to quit?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to quit. I would say if you can quit cold turkey, do it. You know, and I've had this conversation just very recently, probably in the last hour or so, is that if you smoke and you want to quit, give it a shot. If you quit for 4 hours today and you slip and you smoke, don't beat yourself up over it. Just go ahead and smoke it, put it out, and then try again. You know, maybe tomorrow you'll make it 6 hours, and then maybe the next day you'll make it 8. But for a lot of people need help, and it usually needs to be more than just a one thing. The Chantix, I know there's a lot of ups and downs and back and forth about Chantix, but it's helped several of my friends that are, you know, some of these big tough biker guys that I hang out with have quit with Chantix, and they're thrilled, and sometimes they get their spouse to quit. Yeah. So a lot of different things work for a lot of different people, and it depends on what your level of addiction is. Yeah. Sometimes you need like a product, and then you also need not I don't like to call it counseling, I like to call it coaching. And that's people who can give you quick tips and ideas on how to stay quit once you try. You know, it's very important to stay busy and stay away from the mental cravings. You know, you have two parts to smoking. You have physical addiction to nicotine, and then you have the habit of smoking. And to me, physical addiction was a piece of cake. That only lasts about 3 days. But the habit of smoking, the hand to mouth, the whole thing, is extremely hard to break for some people.
Yeah.
But you can do it. You need to break some of your triggers. You know, stay away from the things that set you off. If you start getting those cravings in your mind, do something. Go for a walk, take your dog for a walk, go fishing, take a hike, do something. Yeah. But don't sit there and dwell on those cravings, because if you do, you're probably going to cave in and smoke.
Yeah. What if you've been smoking for 60 years? Is it ever too late to quit?
It's never too late to quit. Yeah. In fact, your body actually starts to heal between cigarettes. Your blood pressure begins to return to normal, the temperature in your hands and feet begin to turn to normal, and after so many years, you become a non-smoker and have the body of a non-smoker. Yeah. So the body is an amazing thing. I mean, it can heal itself. So it's never too late. Yeah. Never too late.
I've got about a minute and a half left. As Rick Stoddard looks across the landscape here, what's the future hold for you?
For me?
For you. What do you want to do?
I want to talk to kids. I want to talk to kids. That's all I want to do. You know, I have to deal with a lot of stuff, with booking information and hotels and flights, and then at the end of the year you got to deal with tax documents, and you have to deal with this and you deal with that. I want to talk to kids. I've been given a real gift, and I don't know what it is that works with me and kids, but there's something there, and I'm awfully thankful for it. So I just want to talk to kids.
Any books in the future or anything? Any more commercials?
Well, I had thought, hopefully no more commercials. I'm really not a commercial kind of guy. I'm more of a hands-on, face-to-face kind of guy. I had thought about writing a second book. You know, I've received over 100,000 letters. So I wanted to pick out 365 letters that really had an impact on me, and I wanted to name the book 365 Reasons to Quit Smoking, A Message from America's Youth.
That's great. Rick Stoddard, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Jeff.
Best of luck on your campaign. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Rick Stoddard, you can keep up with Rick at rickstoddard.com. And by the way, you can watch previous episodes of Conversations online at WSRE.org/conversations, and you can find us on Facebook as well. I'm Jeff Weeks. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. Take great care of yourself, and we'll see you soon. Good job.
Support for this program is provided in part by these corporate sponsors. And by viewers like you.